Okay, live stream is live, so you want to follow along. You probably want to bring up the live stream today because what we're going to be coding is a little bit more heavy. That's why I'm using today, the long block schedule day, to do this. It's just going to be a little bit more blueprint code than we've done before, at least all at once. So definitely follow the live stream, I would say. So you can pause, look exactly what's on my screen, and follow along. Also, a few classes are doing this, are leaving trash. I think that's really rude.
What?
People are leaving trash in classrooms. Make sure you do that after your public obviously it's all classes. I'm playing the music to the living stream. It's too loud. I feel like it's good ambience. For those listening to live stream, can you hear me talk? Is this okay, volume, or should I turn the music down? Is it good? Or should the music down more? No. Okay, so that. If you need to find live stream, you click on you click on the channel, you click on uploads, and then when you click on uploads, it'll give you a drop down. You can choose live streams. It's an option. Like that. For those of you who don't know Minecraft, although almost all of you do, this is what Minecraft looks like. Weird, right? So this is a multiplayer game, so there's two people playing, and they built this house made out of wood, and everything you can see is blocky, it blocks, all the same size, same stuff. And Minecraft is like really pixely, it's traditionally. And yeah, that's why it's such a weird game for being such a famous game. It's like it's super low graphics, and like you wouldn't expect it, but this is one of the most profitable games ever made, and honestly one of the most fun games ever made. Just really, really cool. Yeah, that's PlayStation looks like. Yeah, that's what I play. I play it on Xbox. I've never been one of those PC players when it comes to Minecraft. But they're very different. Like if you're gonna play on PC, you're probably building crazy cool superstructure craziness, creative mode almost definitely, right? Yeah, they are now. Yeah, definitely. But they're just different styles of play. When you play on Xbox, it's about survival. It's very much the survival mode. I like that, like kind of having just a little corner of the world that's safe from all the monsters and going out looking for diamond and gold and all that fun stuff. You can't on Xbox. You're right. You can go into creative on Xbox, and I tried it, but it's nowhere near as fast. You know, you can't make the Titanic or whatever, right?
We should play Minecraft some of these days.
You can play Minecraft right now.
That'd be fun.
Full team.
No, let's make Minecraft.
Okay, what if we make Minecraft, turn it into a
And then play it? Alright, let's do that. Cool. So, is everybody's project loaded? I hope so. Yeah, for the most part. Okay. So, what we're going to do, we're going to get started right away. Before we did all of that code on the block, and we'll come back and do things with the block, but today we're going to do code on the character. Okay, so the goal of today is to make our character be able to place down blocks, right? So that's going to be something that happens on our character. So in your content browser or in your world, however you want, I just want you to find your first person character blueprint and open it up. So I found my first person character blueprint. For me, I'll just look in the content browser. I type in first person. I find the one that says, oh, first person character. Hover over it, it says blueprint class. Double click that, and you get our character blueprint. It's what I want everybody to do. First person character blueprint. Excuse me? Drawing tablets? I did actually last week. I brought one. I didn't show you? Okay. Very cool. Yeah, did you have a Wacom? That's what I have. So mine's actually at my house right now, but I'll probably bring it back to class. What software do you use for that? Yeah, that's what a couple other students in my other classes, when they saw the drawing tablet, they said that they used. Is that for animating or just drawing? Oh, so it's okay, you use it for drawing. Yeah, 2D animation, right. Yeah, I'll bring in the Wacom one of these days and bring it back in and have you show me how to use it. So anyway, we're all on our first person character blueprint now. I want you to be on the event graph, and it's, oh, that's a fancy one. It's new?
No, I got it
Yeah, mine's older than this. Free software download one. Yeah, definitely hook this in and show me maybe at the end of class what it looks like. I know the basics.
Sure, but I don't know if I need to download the software.
Oh, Fire Alpaca? Yeah, is it not on the computer already?
Well, I don't know, but I can search for either game or Fire.
Okay. Well, okay, so sit down, follow the lesson right now, and then we'll have some time afterwards, and we'll get to it. All right, so everybody follow along, and once you want your event graph, and if you look in your event graph right now of your first person, it's got all this code, right? Quite a bit, and it's all been written for you. It's all part of this first person character. Stuff to do with begin play, and then what I want you really just do is to scroll down to this area called spawn projectile. This is how the gun shoots. This is the code that causes the gun to shoot. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take what they did and basically copy and paste some of it and use it to place a block down, because those are very similar actions, right? In one sense, with the when the player shoots the gun, it spawns this bullet, first person projectile, forward, and it appears in the world. Well, we could do that with a block, right? And so that's what we're gonna do. But we're not gonna copy all that code at all. So what I want us to do is just copy part of it. Before we do that, just go underneath it, like I have on my screen here. Sort of go to the bottom where there's empty area, and we're gonna make a custom event. So you're gonna right click, add custom event, and you're gonna name it mine block. This will be our event that gets fired whenever, oh, I'm sorry, not mine block, hey, place block. We're gonna name it place block. Alright, so this is for placing a block downtown. Our character can already mine blocks, now we want to place a block. So, yep, right click, add custom event, place block. Okay. Huh? I named it place block. Yeah, I put a place space block because you can have spaces in event names. Okay. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to go over to this code that's already here and sort of toward the end of it, and I want you to get the one that says spawn actor first person projectile. We're going to copy and paste that node. Okay, so Command C, and then once you Command C it, go back to your custom event and Command V it. So we paste it right where our place block is. So you're copying spawn actor first person projectile. So this is a spawning node for spawning any object in the world. Right now where it says class on that node, it says first person projectile. Well, let's change that to our block. So any blueprint can be spawned. So click on that drop down and type in the name of your block. I'm just typing in block, BP block comes up, and choose that. The attendance? Where's the attendance? Right there. So, go and open up your Minecraft project. And what I want you to do now is, if you like hit compile, you don't have to, but if you hit compile, it's going to give you an error. It's because you haven't told it where to spawn. That's what this thing is, a spawn transform is for. So transform is one of those words that just means, you know, where it is, what size it is, what its rotation is at. It's all of that information. We don't really care what size it is. All the blocks in Minecraft are the same size. We don't care about the rotation because all of the blocks don't rotate in Minecraft at all. So they're always exactly the same rotation. But we do care the location, right? We want to spawn in front of the player, wherever the player places it. But we also want to spawn on that grid, right? We don't want that situation where we have blocks overlapping each other. So what we need to do here is we need to input a bunch of code, right, that goes into that spawn transform that says, hey, put the block right in front of the player, not a million miles away, but right in front of the player, wherever he's looking when he hits the place button, and snap it to a grid so that any blocks that are nearby that you've already placed down will fit perfectly with it, okay? So what's good is a lot of this code has been written because of the bullet code. So we're just gonna copy some of it and then modify it so that it snaps to a grid and stuff. So scroll up to the top here, and this is just see where it says all this code. I'm going to highlight it for you. That's what we're copying. So it's from. Actually, don't worry about get world rotation. We're just going to do this code right here. So it says it starts at gun offset and it ends at make transform. And that's all I want you to highlight. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blueprint nodes. So gun offset, rotate vector, sphere, get world location, plus sign, and make transform. That's what we're highlighting. Okay. So once you've highlighted that, Command C it, and go down to your custom event, and make some room here so move the spawn actor over to the side. And then Command V to paste your code, which is all that code that I just pasted. And you want the end of the make transform node, the very end here, where it says return value, you want to plug that into our spawn transform. So right now, what is the code doing? So, okay, we'll go through this node by node. So right now, it's saying, get this variable called gun offset, which by the way, we're going to delete and replace in a second. And that's for spawning, because if you spawn something exactly at 0, 0, 0 relative to the player, it's going to spawn inside the player, like in his chest, right? Exactly at 0. You don't want that. So the offset says, hey, send it a certain number forward. So that's what that's about. And, all right. Well, just have start following the live stream as best you can. So, and make sure you sign attendance. What I want you to do is what I was explaining. All right. So, the offset right there is just to move it forward a little bit so it's spawn inside the player's body. Then what you do is it says get the world location of this sphere. Well, what's a sphere? Well, it's actually something on your components tab. It's this little sphere that's right in the front of your character wherever he's going to be shooting stuff. So it takes a look at the gun, and it's very in front of the gun, and it says, we'll start at where that location of that sphere is. So you think sphere, get the world location of that sphere, add that to the offset, so add it so it's a certain distance from the player. And then what we want to do is you want to convert all that information to a transform, because the spawn actor needs a transform, right? A transform is a more it is a more detailed version of where something's at, right? Location can be done in 3 numbers, X, Y, and Z. But a transform is done in 3 sets of these 3 numbers. It wants the location, but also wants rotation and wants the scale. So what you do is you have this node that says, hey, combine all this stuff into a transform variable type, and then you can plug that in to the spawn actor. So that's what that code's doing so far. And even if a lot of that sounds like gibberish to you, like, don't worry. Like, you don't always have to understand the code you're writing as long as it works, right? Okay. So what we want to do next, let me just check what I wrote this morning. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's start with the offset. So I said we're going to delete this thing called gun offset in a second. Make sure we're on our custom event where it says gun offset. If you click on it and then look at the details panel, you can see what the offset is. It's at 100 and then -10 for Z. And we don't want to mess with this variable at all because this is actually used for our gun logic, our shooting logic. So we don't want to do anything with that. Instead, I just want you to delete this variable from the graph right here, from our pasted code, right? And then what's going to happen is where it says rotate vector, and now it just says 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. And all I want you to do for this one is I want you to put X down as 100. Okay. What this means is that our block will spawn 100 units forward in front of our player instead of inside of him, right? Just like that. No, not B. Wait, hold on. I know. So one thing we didn't copy is this get world rotation with the first person camera. So it's literally, if you're following along like I am, it's right above. But I just want you to copy and paste that get world rotation, the first person camera, and paste that because that's gonna go to our B channel for this rotate vector. And then in the A channel, the X is going to be 100. Just make sure that B channel is not empty. We want it to be that first person camera, get world rotation going into there. And I just copied that from up here. Okay, what we want to do next? Let's move over to this area where it says make transform. And I'm leaving these rotation at 0 and scale at 1, 1, 1. That's fine. We want to keep that alone. Like I said, Minecraft, the scale of the blocks never changes, rotation never changes, only the location. But what I do want to do is I want to be able to snap this to a grid. So to do this, we're going to have to move this spawn block over a bit, because we're going to need some room. And then we want to move this make transform over a bit towards the spawn block, because our code's going to go in between this plus calculation and this make transform. Code's going to go in between. Let's make some room. Okay. Now what I want you to do is, this is a really cool tip that people don't really know in Unreal until quite a bit later. But when you have things like these variables that are made up of multiple numbers, like a vector is, x, y, and z, like this right here, or location, you can actually break it up into its individual numbers, and then do things with those numbers here by right-clicking on the circular node right there, right-click, and then hit I'm not getting it for some reason. Why not? Oh, I see. I have to disconnect it. So you're gonna learn two tips right now. So before we actually break it, how do you break a wire off of something, right? You could right-click and then you could go break link. That's one way. Or if you hold Alt and click, it'll also break the link. So that's my way of doing it. Just hold Alt, click. Okay. Yep. Holding Alt, you click where the wire is on this plus sign here, and it's gonna break that wire. It's gonna delete that wire. Now that you've done that, the first tip I was trying to tell you is if you right-click on that circle, you could do something called split struct pin. So choose that, and it's going to break that number into all its parts, so x, y, and z. So you right-click, and then you hit split struct pin, and now you have x, y, and z. Okay. For the next part, it's real simple. I want you to drag off starting on x, drag off of x, and type in the word snap, and you want to choose snap to grid. So X is going into this thing on snap to grid called location, and then you have a thing here called grid size. You want to change it to 100, because that's our grid value. The whole world is snapping on every 100 units. So what this is saying is, hey, give me the X that you're trying to spawn it at, and I'm gonna instead make it to whatever the closest location it is on that 100 grid every 100 units to that. So what you could do then is copy and paste that snap to grid twice more, and you're just gonna do the same thing, plugging in Y and then plugging in Z. Yeah, grid size stays constant, 100. Next part, what I want you to do is drag off of any one of these numbers. I'm going to drag off X, off the output, the return value of our snap to grid. So we're moving again from left to right. And I want you to type in make transform. Actually, no, I want you to make transform. No, make vector. Yeah, make vector. Yeah, so drag off the X and type in make vector. Okay, and it's what make vector is going to do is going to give you X, Y, and Z. And it's going to convert that into a location. So where we split it from its original vector into these 3 numbers, and now we're just recombining them into its original state as a vector. Vector is just a 3-number value. You've also probably heard me say, hey, a vector is just a color. Well, Connor, which is it? Or Mr. Torres, which is it? Is it a color or is it a 3-number value? Well, every color is represented by 3 numbers. Red, green, and blue, right? So that's why when you see a vector, it's also a color. It will represent color information, location information, rotation information, all kinds of things we use vectors for. So plug in Y and plug in Z. Okay, so your make vector has something going into it for all X, Y, and Z. And then on the return value, you want to plug the return value into location on your make transform node that should already be here. Just plugging return value into location. All right, I'm assuming that we're all caught up then. So I want to move forward to spawn actor. Nope. Well, if you guys are talking, then I'm just going to assume that you're moving on. Okay, what do you need? Do you need help? Got it? Make transform. And then that return value, right? So it's all connected. Okay, next thing I want you to do is on the spawn actor blueprint block where it says collision handling override. I want you to change it because it's probably set to something called try to adjust location but don't spawn if still colliding. We don't want that because it's really unreliable, and since we're snapping to a grid, we want it to spawn all the time whenever we hit the button and spawn to a grid. So what I want you to do is change it to always spawn, ignore collisions. It won't, because that offset is going to cause it to never be placed where it's colliding with you. Yeah, it does mean you can jump on it, yeah. You want always spawn, ignore collisions. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to trigger this event, right? Nothing triggers this custom event called place block to happen, so let's just go right over here to just the front of it, just for convenience so we can get back to it. And right click and type in E key. You can always change this later or make it the left mouse button or whatever you want to do. Yeah, you just type in the letter E key, just like we do with the F key, right, with our flashlight. And then off of pressed, I want you to call your custom event. I said E key, and this isn't anything we haven't done before. And then off of that, again, just on press, I want you to call that custom event. I renamed mine place block down just because, yeah. But now on E, I actually drag off and I look up my event, place block down. So what's happening is every time the player presses E, it's going to fire this event called place block down, and then it's going to run through all this code we just wrote. Okay. Let's try it. Oh, one more thing I want you to do. One more thing. Go back, hit escape real quick. One thing is our character doesn't jump very high, so you can't like stack yourself with blocks like you can in Minecraft. So if you just click on character movement component, movement, right here on the left in the components tab, and then the details on the right, find jump Z velocity and change it to 600. That way you'll be able to jump high enough. Yeah, change it to 600. Yeah, it's at 420 right now, change it to 600. Jump should be going to 600. It's you have to click on character movement, and then your details panel on the right here has all the settings for how your character moves. Jump Z velocity. How fast can I click? Probably not as fast as some of you guys. Alright, is it working? Mine's working. Press E. Really? By looking down or something? Or how do you do it? Look up? I'm not able to do it. Oh, I think I got it. You're in. So what we would do to avoid being able to place blocks on ourselves is there's something going on with the blocks right now. It isn't really true to Minecraft, which is we can place blocks in the air. And normally in Minecraft, you can only place blocks on top of other existing blocks. So what we will do, maybe next time, is make it so that we check before placing down, is there a block in front of the gun? If so, then you can place something there. But if not, ignore. Well, I don't know. I might be hostile because you've upstaged me. If that's the case, and a very fragile ego. No, did you figure it out? How'd you figure it out? You figured out the colliding thing? Hello? Yeah. Go for it. You're on a mission. You know what? Air high fives to whoever figures it out. How's that sound? Sound pretty good, huh? Hey. Can I get attendance, please? Oh, that one.
Yeah.
It's just like automatically no once you heard the voice.
Actually, make it such a name.
Sean, right?
I don't know if that's fear or something else. Wait, what is this? Someone needs to see. This hamster's too. For all I know, this That's how they get you. Come on, come on. This is really well drawn. This is not.
Yes. We both were thinking the same. I just looked over and I see that somebody.
Like, go to. Go to. Plot twist. She was showing her face. You're right. This is a real. Why is the delicious? Are you for real? How did my life lead me to this? I was watching this in the park. Yeah. Oh no. I like how they compliment your body as if she's like a real person. Like that way my body would look good. She's strong. But I just wait, where is it? Dad, why is the FBI here? Wait, hold on. You didn't know. Okay,
So, all right. Next thing I'm gonna show you is let's make a lava block. I kind of made that sort of a challenge before, but now I want to do it for real. you can follow along if you want. I'm going to make some lava blocks. So how I do that is as follows. Yeah, we definitely want to do that. We could do that. I guess we could have time to do that today if it's like a request. We could potentially do that. But we have to give our player health and calculate health, and like that would be a little bit of a process, just something friendly. First, let's get the lava block, what it looks like taken care of, and how it integrates with other blocks. So what we're going to do is we're going to find our list, our num, right? So my content browser, I'm going to name that, look up block types. That's my list. Double clicking block type. I'm going to click new, and I'm going to add lava to the list. Lava, yeah, block type and num. Okay. Once I hit new, I've added the word lava to the list. That's all I got to do. Hit save and close out of the list. Yep. Just click new and add a new item to the list called lava. Now, if I go to my block and I go to the construction script, you'll see that I have actually a channel for lava off of that block type on the beard there. However, I don't have a material that looks anything like lava in this content. So we're going to have to make something from scratch. So we have fire. And this texture is actually really good for lava, right? So let's see if we can somehow combine something like this with the flowiness of our ocean material and use that as our material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in water. I'm going to find that water ocean material. I'm going to duplicate it so I don't mess with the original. So right click and duplicate. And I'm going to rename this m_lava. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, I would do that. Although if we're going to turn its collision off, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to set its health to anything. No, recreate material. So right click on the ocean material, hit duplicate, and then rename the new duplicated material m_lava, and then open it up. And since we duplicated it, here I am in my lava. I've got all this pre-written material code written for me, so I can just go in and start modifying this behavior lava. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the very end of all this code where it finally ends out in a base color. And I can see something called alert going into base color. And we're going to put something in between this code to interrupt this water code and make it look lava-like. So what we're going to do is we're going to tint it. So we've done this already, where we multiply it by color and then it tints the final color of it. So what I want to do is drag off of this alert and type in the word multiply. It is a funny word. It stands for linear interpolation, which is not so funny word. So what I want you to do is drag that up into multiply, and then for the B channel, drag off of there and type in vector, right? It's a color, vector parameter, choose that one. And then just make sure that the end of the multiply now, you drag the wire from what the end of the multiply into the base color. So the end of your multiply goes into base color like that, output. Once you've done that, make sure that your color, by clicking your vector, you can change its color and change like a dark red. Yeah, it says none. think I want it to be dark red. Dark red. And then you can hit apply to test it. Remember though, make sure the end of your multiply goes into base color. So some of you, I can see even on your screens, you still have your lerp going into base color. You want whatever those two multiply together, what the final output of that, right, the result,